to the garage. It's Monday night and it's a little bit cool outside. It's quite a big weekend, and we had a lot of different things to do. We had a really good housewarming that we went to, and that was excellent. It's good to see new people move into the neighbourhood and share their great interest in old Queenslander homes like we do. I've also been doing a few projects. I've got like a whole slew of projects that are going on around the house, and that includes finishing off a laundry. And so I've got, what have I got here? Got all this stuff for the laundry, put these pretty cool taps together. I'll just come forward a little bit, see if that works. But these are really nice looking little taps that just go directly onto the wall, and you put your washing machine attachments onto that, and your hose goes up to the existing hose work. So yeah, that'll be pretty cool. So I've just got a lot of junk here, and there was a lot more junk than this over the weekend, but I'm going to be putting all this junk away actually. So the first thing that, or one of the first things that I've got that's happening at the minute is the laundry room, and the second thing is the front fence. And what I did, ta-da, is I bought this really cool jackhammer / demolition hammer. It's a full bore one. I couldn't get the one that I wanted from Total Tools. It was a Detroit. I've got a few Detroit things and they've been pretty good. But this, it looks really clean right now because I kind of cleaned it up after I used it. But this just dug holes and went through dirt and rock and roots, like tree roots everywhere. It just went through it like it was nothing. So that is absolutely great. I'll be using that so much more. I did a few holes, just the hole on one end and the hole on the other, and I want to set those posts in. And seeing that it's so close to the footpath, I haven't got the timber ordered yet because I want particular style of timber and size of timber, which is kind of hard to get. And so what you do with fencing is you set either end up, then measure out everything of where you want to dig your holes. And I don't want to dig those holes just yet because it's really adjacent to the footpath. There's no other fence there. I haven't got it cordoned off or anything. I just don't want people wandering into our yard and breaking their leg and doing all sorts of crazy things because the holes will be really deep. The posts will be at least 5 inches thick, square obviously, and they'll have nice decorative tops on them. Haven't really decided what sort of tops yet, but I've looked at rounded off posts as well, and that would look pretty cool because we're going for a bit of a contemporary look. I've seen posts done before with the aluminium, cast aluminium tops on them, and I've had those on fences before, but that was on an 1876 Italianate villa, and this one is a 1915 Edwardian house. So, and it's not really going to look very Edwardian, it's pretty plain, so we're kind of going for a bit of a urban farmhouse look, if that's a way to describe it. Because I'll take you through a tour on our place one day, and it's pretty unusual because our floors are all what they call black Japan, and the rest of the house, the walls are all white, and some things are being changed within the house because we've been here for about almost 6 years now. My wife is working on one room as well, so fence, laundry, a room that my wife is working on. It's almost back to the good old days. Our son had to sleep on the couch the other night because my wife's been using paint that's quite fumey, and his room is adjacent to the one that she's working on. So when you wander out in the morning and you see your son sleeping on the couch, you think, all right, things are happening. Renovations are occurring. because I've always been a great believer that things have to be uncomfortable before they can be super comfortable. Another project that I'm working on is our caravan. Now, we had so much rain here recently that the caravan got a little bit waterlogged, or not waterlogged, it just got a bit wet inside. You'd put the big tarpaulin on, you'd do some work on it, you'd take the tarpaulin off, you'd put it back on. Over time, the tarpaulin would get holes in it. So when it really started to rain for a long time, I tore off the band-aid, so to speak, and bought a really huge tarpaulin, put it all the way around, tied it off, and had the door open ajar, a little crack, so it could all dry out during the day. So I went in there yesterday, had a look, and it is really good. There's a couple of little spots that were a bit dark that I've sanded back, but it's going to look really good. So that's another project. And one of the things that I bought for that is an entry set, which is a digital lock set for the door. So you never need to have a key to enter the caravan. The caravan's going to be not one that we pull around. Pulling around a caravan is kind of my worst nightmare in life. I have never had the need or the desire to have a trailer, and I definitely don't have the need or desire to have a caravan. Some people love it, it's just not my bag at all. My bag is staying in a motel. So this will be really cool. A door on a caravan is quite complex. I kind of understand now why they are so expensive, because there's so much work in it and so much aluminium extrusions, because I'm kind of rebuilding it from the ground up. Also marine ply. I've got a little bit of marine ply off to this side. You probably can't see that, but utilizing marine ply is just so good because it's impervious to water if you seal it properly. Okay, but and all of this stuff was kind of in the caravan. As you can see, you know, the wind blew in a lot of water, so I've got to grind these down and get them looking clean again. But this beast, it is so good. Over here as well, all ready to use this Wagner paint sprayer. I've got areas of fencing that I've already built that I can utilize that on. So we're going to be mucking around with color samples and stuff. The fence won't be white. It'll be a color, sort of like a muted earthy color, and we're going to have a lot of plants growing in front of it. So the fence won't particularly be the feature. It'll just be blending into the rest of the place. So yeah, it'll start to look really good. So yeah, sometimes I think that I have too many projects on the go, but you know, I can never stop. I'm always thinking of like 5 projects in the future, and that's probably been to my detriment at times, because you get really hung up on one particular thing and you go at it a million miles an hour, and then you forget about other things. But if I just keep on chipping away at each one, that will get there in the end. And that's pretty much how we've done it with our house. We, like I say, have been here for almost 6 years, and the kitchen that we put in probably about 4 or 5 years ago, some of it is starting to age a little bit. I thought I bought a particular Laminex product for one of the benches, but it wasn't that good, so it's starting to deteriorate rapidly now. So what I want to do there is get some Laminex, which is really difficult to come by now in a hardware store. You can't just go to Bunnings or Mitre 10 or whatever and buy a sheet of Laminex, that, as far as I'm aware. You actually have to order them online or go to Laminex Industries, which is about 50 or 60 kilometers away from here. Update on the ute as well. Seeing that I had so many different things that I had to do on the weekend, I had no chance to actually work on the ute. I worked a fair bit on the fence and utilizing the jackhammer and measuring it all out to see what I actually need for timber. So what I'll do this week is I have to get all that timber anyway, and I'll just order it and I'll get it delivered. and I'll get the rails delivered as well. So that'll give me a fair bit of stuff to work on with that front fence. What I want to do is take my time as well with the pickets, because the ones that I'm going to buy, usually they are a little bit wet, and so you need to have them dry a little bit because they do shrink a fair bit, the ones that I'm going to buy anyway. You'll see what I mean when I do it. I've had pickets before that have like fancy tops on them. I'm not going to do that this time around. It's going to have a nice cap on the top, so no pickets this time, and you won't be able to see through the fence. So also the gates, I've measured all of those out. It'll have one vehicular gate, and it'll have two pedestrian gates, one at the front and one going down the side. And there'll be an area to pull in off the road, because as you've probably seen on some of my videos, we live on quite a busy road, so there'll be a little bay to pull into so you can get out of your car and open the gate. The initial gate that I'm going to put on is something that I normally always do, and it's a farm gate that I buy from rural supplies places, and they are so good because they fit, they're strong, and I want to put that on while I build a proper crafted gate. But that will take some time, and that'll be the subject of many videos as well. I've seen it before and they just look so good, but they take so long to build, and I'll need to have this whole shed available to do that. So that's that little project as well. What else are we doing here? I didn't get a chance to drive out in the countryside over the weekend because we had an assimilation program with my son's school. So he hasn't started high school yet, but they have something every month or so where the people who have been accepted into this school can go and meet their peers and do whatever they need to do in sport and academic endeavours. And this week it was swimming, so we were kind of with him for a fair while yesterday on Sunday, so it took up most of the day, and I guess that's the price you have to pay time-wise for getting your kids into good schools. So that's just how it is, but that's okay. My black car is absolutely filthy, and I kind of need to keep it that way for a while. Where I work is they're doing a lot of road works that you can't get in any other way, and there's a patch of area that is just really dusty, and when it rains it's really muddy. So I'm just going to grin and bear it. I might just hose everything off, but I'm not going to do a proper wash on that car for a few weeks until they've finished that roadworks. But meanwhile, I've got the trusty Saab 9.3 in here. It's looking really good actually. I've had this for 2012, so almost 10 years, and for the most of its life it's been parked outside. I bought it in Ballarat, and it's been parked outside ever since I bought it pretty much. I reckon it's had only about 10% of its life being parked indoors, and you can see from the top of it that the sun damage has caught up with it, particularly in Queensland, and in Victoria it'd get ice all over it, and up here it just gets the sun beating down on it. But the paint on the side is just so perfect. You know, I hit it with a clay bar every year or so, and you take a photo of it side on and it just looks so good. Then you look at the top of the boot, and the antenna, that's starting to deteriorate as well. So yeah, that's how it is for this week. As I said, I love planning for projects in the future. I love planning what I need to buy for them. And I can tell you right now that this is just going to get used so much, because there's a lot of concrete that is just random pieces of concrete that were bases for chook sheds or perimeters for old gardens that are no longer in use and will never be in use. So that's something that I'm just going to, dig up over time. and the front yard needs a whole revamp as well. You know, those concrete wavy things that had, you know, were really popular in gardens in about 1965. We've got those, unfortunately, and they do serve a purpose, but it does look a little bit dated. But we have other parts of our house that I really love that don't match the 1915 period. For example, we have louvers from probably 1950. So glass louvers with steel edges. I love them. My wife doesn't like them too much because, fair enough, they do let bugs in, but I'm going to devise some sort of really good screening system where we can still retain those vintage louvers that are still just in perfect condition. They're just oxidized a little bit, but they still work perfectly. The glass is all perfect, and they just look really good. You know, I kind of like louvers. If you had to reproduce those in a modern house, I hate to think of how expensive they would be, because, you know, if you look at any architectural house, they do have aspects of louver systems throughout the house to let in breeze. So I really do like that sort of thing. And our house, I was talking to you before about the style of our house inside. I have never seen another old Queenslander like ours, in a good way. It's not one of those ones that you think, oh man, you know, what have they done? All of the floors in there are black Japan, and all of the bedrooms are carpeted in a really nice, thick, well, not too thick, but a really thick grey wool type carpet, sort of a loop pile. So it's really comfortable. We've got 5 air conditioners in the house as well. One of the things that I mentioned to my wife when we were moving up here from Ballarat is that when I move back here again, our whole house is going to be really comfortable. You know, it might not be a big grand mansion, but it's going to be extremely comfortable in summer and winter, and we've done that. But what we're doing now is just making it more practical by eliminating street noise. And we've planted trees. The trees are really good buffers, and they look really good too. And they provide a lot of shade from the afternoon sun. So it's really good to be on this journey and to make these videos. I think when I'm at work, I sort of think, oh, what sort of things can I talk about? And what sort of things can I do? Because I have noticed that a lot of these videos are just me talking. I try to have something at the start of most videos about action or what's happening. This video is a little bit different because I got home. Usually I get home on a Monday and I'm quite tired. So I'm going to endeavour to get some more work type videos done during the week. However, fingers crossed, I'm getting my AstraZeneca jab tomorrow, and hopefully I have no serious side effects, but I'm expecting, you know, to feel a little bit ill for a couple of days, very similar to when you have a flu jab. So fingers crossed for that. Hopefully I'll come home tomorrow with a sore arm and maybe feel a little bit off, and that'll be it, but we'll see how we go from there. So that's where we're at, ladies and gents. Thanks for coming along, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.